Was the MCU's downfall inevitable? If they continued, it was inevitable. Nothing lasts forever. There is not an infinite supply of good ideas. There's not an infinite supply of good luck, perfect timing. No genre stays on top forever. And there is no comparable franchise that had the run that the MCU had for phases 1 through 3. Like they put out 3 phases straight, over 20 movies, and every single one of them was fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Every single one of them. So when Eternals finally went rotten, it was like, wow, they're 15 years in and they got their first rotten movie. Like it was wild and shocking. And then that's why people were, defending all that stuff. But, you can't stay on top forever. So, I mean, sure, if they'd ended with Endgame, it wasn't inevitable. It would have been like the best, like luck, talent, timing, everything that they pulled it off. But they kept going. I think what makes the downfall of the MCU over the last couple of years so frustrating is that they weren't mistakes they had to make. Like, it's very easy to look back and see what they should have done, and not in this 2020 hindsight sort of way. In the sense that, like, you should have known better. This just feels like arrogance, hubris. You believed you could do no wrong, and so you went ahead full steam ahead because you'd been so successful without stopping to think why you were successful and without repeating the patterns that made you successful. So deciding to double the amount of watch time they produced every single year while moving into a new medium, television, is just pure arrogance. The idea that they thought that they could redefine how TV shows were made, like move into a totally different medium, television, and do it differently, not follow historic patterns, not do one, learn from it, then do the second one, but go full speed ahead and have 3 of them done before the time the first one came out. They didn't need to make that mistake. And whether that was Disney, Kevin Feige, it was not a mistake that needed to be. It was a non-forced error. And then there's stuff that was just not doing a team-up movie at the end of Phase 4, or I guess, not at the end of Phase 4, and kind of doing one at the end of Phase 5, but not in the way that ended up working. I think just was a very foolish mistake where they did not learn from the obvious thing that worked so well in Phase 1, which is Avengers at the end of that phase catapulted into this whole level of success that gave them momentum into Phase 2, and then Ultron gave them momentum into Phase 3, and then they built right on that with Civil War, which, it just drove momentum. And instead of doing the exact mechanism, team-up movies that gave focus, gave connection to our characters, it made it clear who the stars were of the franchise. Instead of doing that, they just kept launching new franchises. And they didn't do Shang-Chi 2. They didn't do Eternals 2. They took too long to do second seasons to certain shows. And they just kept doing new characters and new characters and new characters. And so it was scattershot. They didn't repeat what worked before in the sense of like broad strategy, not copy the exact formula, but broad strategies that gave them momentum, focus, and built stars. And these are things they could have, like, just basic analysis of what made them build momentum. They didn't do that. And that's what makes the struggles that they had in Phase 4 and 5 just so frustrating, because so much of it were mistakes that did not need to be made. And then just even to a video that I put out this last week or so about how in Phase 4 in particular, they kept doing these post-credit scenes promising things that they had no plans to follow up on, and just teasing, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and here's Harry Styles, and hey, look, Hulk has a son, and this, and just when you promise 15 plot threads and have no plan to follow up on it, you confuse people. You feel like you're tricking people. You're teasing things disingenuously. And that's where we're at, with people very frustrated, disenfranchised, throwing in the towel. And it did not need to be. And by now we kind of know a lot of this came from Disney mandating content quotas. We need this much content to fill up our streaming service. I don't think it was inevitable in the sense that I think, like, I'm not someone that thinks that it had to end at Endgame or it was always going to fail. But I think after Endgame, they should have said, we're taking a break. We are pausing and we're going to figure out how do we move forward in a way that's satisfying, that continues to, it's a restart phase, but it's one that's rebuilding momentum. And how do we have a plan that really makes sense and works? And they didn't do that. They went from like killing themselves to do the incredible 1-2 punch of Infinity War Endgame, and then immediately doubled down on the amount of watch time, the content they were producing, without pausing, analyzing, or having a master plan. And it really hurt them. And now they're trying to course correct.
Most of these clips are pulled from my Patreon live streams. I do about 6 live streams every single month. For $2 per month, $20 per year, you can get access to all the exclusive videos and live streams. For $5 per month, you get your name on my end card. At the top tier, you get a 30-minute video chat with me each month. The link down below in the description has more information.